Greetings and salutations. Welcome back for another part of Skyblivion hype. An Oblivion Let's Play. It's heavily modded with the Oblivion modder Bevi Lex's mod list with some slight changes. We're going to be starting the Knights of Nine quest line with a new character, as well as doing some side quests. So we're going to play Breton. They've long been one of my favorite of the Elder Scroll races to play. Let's start by changing the eye color. There's a weird glitch where when you change the eye color, it sets you to like a really young looking face. We're actually going to play a very old looking, well, not like super old, but fairly old looking character. He's going to be a veteran of the Imperial Legion. And he's served in Hammerfell for a while, so we're going to give him a slightly ruddy complexion. Okay, change his hair. We're going it to be sort of military looking. I don't really like this one. When you actually get out, the headband is a little too, I don't know, it just stands out a little too much. I was thinking cropped. This looks kind of Imperial-like, and even though he's a Breton, he served in the Legion, so he probably has adapted or adopted some of their customs. Give him some gray hair to make his age stand out a little more. And there we go. I like it. His name's going to be Martin. Camera's going to jerk around a little bit because the WASD keys are movement in this game. Going to be Martin de Chateau, and it's just coincidence. I was noticing earlier when I was thinking about this character that I chose Martin, and it's Martin Luther King Day when I'm recording this. Alright, I like it. Let's get started. Yes, I want to be a Breton. So, you'll notice that I'm not starting in the sewers. Let's set these up real quick. Let's see. This one is up to F6. This one to F7. And the last one we'll set to F8. Let's make sure those worked. Sometimes that stupid pop-up menu about the icicles causes the trigger that I use in place of the left mouse click to become set as one of these toggle things, but it looks like it worked. Yep. Yeah. Alright then. So I was saying, you'll notice that we didn't start in the Imperial Sewers, instead we start in a ship. This is because I installed a mod called Alternate Start. Ship Arrival, I think? And that lets us arrive by ship, which is a little faster than the sewers. And we get to actually set up some backstory by reading these immigration forms. So we can change our race, we can select a birth sign, we can choose specializations, that's our class. And social status will determine what sort of gear we start with and give our character a little bit of backstory there. So let's select birth sign next. And I'm really torn with this one. For a long time, my go-to was the Lady's Blessing. This gives you more willpower, which makes your magic recover faster, and endurance, which gives you more health and stamina, or fatigue, whatever they call it in this game. The Mage is another go-to, though more recent one, because you only get so much magic in the game, so having an extra 50 points that's not tied to one of your attributes is pretty cool. I usually only go to Thief when I'm playing a stealthy type character, although the speed and the agility are both nice for fighters as well. The agility makes so you're staggered and knocked down less, and the speed lets you get around faster, which saves you a lot of in-game time. I've been tempted to try the Atronach a lot lately, just the idea of being almost magic immune. And that with the Breton's already 50% magic resistance would make my character a really good mage killer. But it makes it so that you don't recharge your magicka. This could be countered by using potions, but if you want to cast any spells on yourself, you're going to be absorbing those as well. So, since I'm going to be casting some restoration spells on myself, I'm probably not going to with this character. I don't usually play the Lord, the Lover, the Ritual, the Serpent, the Shadow, because they all require that you activate abilities, and I find that to be... I just don't remember to use them that often. The Steed is tempting. A 20-point speed boost let you move around a lot faster. The Tower is always tempting for me because I'm horrible at lockpicking this game. So being able to unlock one average lock is nice, but I don't really consider it worth it in the long run. The Warrior is tempting, particularly for this character, because we're going to be wearing heavy armor, and the extra strengths will give us better carrying weight, and endurance will give us more health and stamina. So I'm thinking either Warrior, Mage, or Lady. Probably not the Lady, so Mage for more magic, since we are going to be using Destruction Magic and Restoration Magic, or the Warrior. And I think I'm going to go with the Warrior, just for that extra boost in carrying weight early on, because I really hate it when I'm constantly rearranging my inventory because I'm overburdened. Okay. Next, specialization. This is where we're going to create our class. Now, if you've never played Oblivion or one of the older Elder Scrolls games before, this might seem very different than Skyrim's. I actually prefer Skyrim's system. We're going to select the Knight, not because we're going to play the Knight, just so that we have kind of a knightly looking class portrait. Then we're going to go custom class. Now here you select either stealth, magic, or combat. That makes it so that the associated skills move up faster, and they each get a +5 bonus. We're going to go combat because we're planning on having athletics, blade, block, blunt, and heavy armor, and we're going to be using armor a lot, so that's almost all of them. Okay, this you select 2 attributes. You just start off with a little more in each. You're going to go strengths, once again for that carry weight. And endurance would be more health. And stamina. Speed would let us get around more. Agility would be knocked down less. Willpower, our magic would recover faster. Intelligence, we would start with more magic. Personality, easier to talk to people, which is a big bonus in some of the earlier quests. And luck, it says it affects everything, but I find that its biggest effect is, or most noticeable effect, is random, like magic items and whatnot drop. And it's not that significant in my opinion, so I'm thinking speed. Because for me, getting around places fast is pretty important. Okay, and to that end, we're also going to take athletics. We're going to go blade, block, and blunt, because Knights of the Nine, you get a nice mace, a nice sword, and a nice shield. We're going to want to be able to use them. We're also going to go destruction. That's going to be how we're going to attack at range. Heavy armor, because we're playing a knight. And we're going to be making use of a mod called the Knightly Armory, which gives some nice heavy armor. And I think our last one is going to be Restoration, because we're going to be also sort of a paladin character. We're going to be able to heal our stats and other people of damage. And let's call this, we're mostly a fighter, but we've also got some spells. So let's go with something simple like Night Mage. Something about that reminds me of Fire Emblem for some reason. I don't think there was any class called Night Mage, but for some reason it sends waves of nostalgia. Okay, and there we go. We've created a new class. We specialize in combat. We've got speed and strength, athletics, blade, block, blunt, destruction, heavy armor, and restoration. And yes, we do want to be a Night Mage. Okay, the last thing we're going to do here is social status. It's going to determine our starting gear and gold level. And these are each broader categories. Once you click on them, you get a more narrow, or you get other options. So we're going to go warrior. We're actually going to go Imperial Legion veteran. Depending on what we pick, we're going to have different gear. Special operations, for example, you start with like assassin gear. Veteran, you start with iron armor. Imperial Legion veteran, you actually start with the Legionnaire armor, which can be a little tricky to get early on. We're basically right up to retirement. We're on leave from the Imperial Legion. And we're going to go wealthy. We were the type of character who was wise with their money and their holdings, and came from aristocracy. We're going to pick Anvil as a starting place. That's something that's new. Now we could select a disease. I guess this would be to make the game more challenging, or role-playing purposes, or if you wanted to start with a vampirism, either the lower stage or an advanced stage. We're not going to pick any of these. Right, I'm going to use a mod that I installed called Safe Save to do a little quick save here. I've got the in-game default quick saves turned off because they all use the same, I guess, save location, and this causes the file to become corrupted easily, which can lead to a lot more crashing. So this mod, each time you hit the safe save, it actually picks a new location. Okay, and then to move on to the next part, we just sleep in the bed. Okay, this replaces the tutorial of the main campaign. It tells you that in the night I had a strangely vivid dream. The Emperor flees through darkened passages. Suddenly ambushers strike. The Emperor falls. His assassin plucks an amulet from his neck, but is set upon by the Emperor's companions. The amulet drops to be grabbed by a rat, which scurries away. With his dying breath, the Emperor looks towards me and gasps out, "Joffrey," in Quarrel. So, what you can do, well, let's see, this dream does not bode well. Perhaps I should examine the sewers to see whether there's any truth to it. First, though, I should retrieve my belongings from a nearby sack. So now you can go to the Imperial sewers, and near the entrance you'll find the Amulet of Kings, and you can start the main questline if you want. We're not going to do it with this character, since we just did it with another character of mine. We're going to just do the Knights of the Nine and some side quests with this character. Okay, why am I doing this? I can just take it all. So, we start with a fine bow, fine iron longsword. It's pretty good. Let's hotkey these real quick. I'm playing with a controller. I like to use the Steam controller. I find that with the gyro, I'm accurate enough. Probably not quite as good as a mouse, but I find the movement a lot easier. I've never adjusted to... I'm just going to draw these icicles. And the iron dagger. What was I saying? I've never adjusted to the wasp movement. Okay, we start with Imperial Legion gear, which is pretty good, because we are an Imperial veteran. I really like the way the Imperial armor looks in this one. It reminds me a lot of the Royal Guard armor from Mournhold, the Morrowind Elder Scrolls 3 expansion set. Drop this stuff as well. I think we'll drop all. Let's just throw this all in a crate. Wait, we're not littering in Anvil. Let's see. because I'm not planning on using any alchemy to speak of. I might make some potions later on just to move up my intelligence skill, or intelligence attribute. Why did I pick up that shovel? So let's see. I don't normally wear helmets, although the Imperial Legion one is actually pretty good as far as they go. So I actually have a mod installed called Helmet Toggle that gives you the armor and enchantment bonuses of the helmet while not having to wear it. The drawback to it, if you want to call it a drawback, is that whatever helmet you have that's hidden, any NPCs in the game that are wearing that helmet will have it hidden as well. So if I run into any Imperial Legionnaires that are wearing that horse helm, Imperial horse helm helmet, they're going to have it hidden as well. But that's fine for now. We're mostly going to be operating off the bat in the different counties where there aren't any Legionnaires. Okay, let's take a look. Looks like we get a bonus to our restoration because of our Breton skills. Oddly, we don't get anything to any of the armor or weapons, which is a bit strange since the Breton culture is full of conflict. There are like a lot of different. Well, I guess in this point in the game, there's only like 3. But there's a lot of infighting. They have a lot of different kings and nobility, and they're constantly fighting over who's in charge. Okay, I think we're set to get started. Oh, wait, one more thing. We have to head over to the sewers real quick. Even though we're not going to start the main quest line, I use a mod called Galeron's Leveling. Makes it very passive. Basically, every 2 skills you move up that are associated with a certain attribute, it moves up the attribute automatically 1 point. This makes it so that you get your increases for all of your skill, increases for your attributes for all of your skill increases, and erases a lot of the metagaming that people are tempted to do with the default Oblivion leveling system. So, now that we've got that enabled, we're going to head back to Anvil and do some local quests. And perhaps start the Knights of the Nine. I'm going to hit the quick save one more time. And I do think we'll start with the first of the Knights of the Nine quests. Now, the Knights of the Nine is a DLC that released later, and oddly enough, it did not originally release in CD form on the Xbox 360. It actually released on the PlayStation and computer first.
During the breaking of gates, his golden wickedness will hold fast against all odds. So, another one who has come to listen to the madman's rantings?
Let's ask him about the Anvil Chapel attack.
This is only the beginning. Umaril has returned as foretold by Pelinal Whitestrake in his dying breath.
Okay, we're going to ask him who Pelinal Whitestrake was.
Does no one remember the old tales? Saint Pelinal, the divine crusader of legend, Alicia's companion when she overthrew the rule of the Aelids 3,000 years ago. Pelinal, with the aid of the gods, fought the Aelid sorcerer King Umaril and slew him! But Umaril's spirit survived, and he has now returned.
Okay, Umaril. Who's that?
Umaril the Unfeathered! the sorcerer king of the Aliens, who ruled over this land for long ages before the rise of men. He was cast down by Pelennor Whitestrake, but Umarul's spirit survived, and now he has returned to seek vengeance upon the gods.
Okay. Can you tell me who attacked the chapel?
Do you understand nothing? The blood speaks. I can read the ancient runes if you cannot. As uibala umarale el nada rakuvar. In the alien tongue, by the eternal power of Umaril, the mortal gods shall be cast down. A curse upon Umaril's ancient foes, and a threat.
So how do we stop this Umaril?
Alas, Umaril cannot be stopped. Not without the aid of the gods, not without the Crusaders' relics. Without a champion, the gods are powerless to act. But who among us is worthy to wield the divine Crusaders' weaponry?
I will quest for the relics.
You would quest for the holy panoply of Pelennor Whitestrake? The legendary relics that have been sought by mighty warriors throughout the ages? Are you a worthy knight?
Well, I have no claim to fame.
Perhaps, perhaps not. What men value is not always what the gods look for in a champion.
How can I find the relics?
The gods grant insight to those they deem worthy. Why and how they act is not predictable. What I can tell you is that, traditionally, knights who wish to quest for the relics would walk the Pilgrim's Way. Travel to the way shrines of the 9 divines. Pray to each of the gods in turn, and ask their favor upon your quest. If the gods deem you worthy, you will be granted a sign. Go forth with the 9's blessings.
Right then. Can you tell me anything more about these Crusaders' relics?
The weapons and armor of Pelennor Whitestrake, Alicia's comrade, granted to him by the 8 divines. He went alone into the White Gold Tower, challenged the alien sorcerer King Umaril to single combat, and slew him. Alas, Umaril was not truly slain, but only cast beyond the bounds of Nirn. And now he has returned to wreak his vengeance upon the gods, as was prophesied by Pelennor himself with his dying breath. Only a true knight, wielding the holy relics of the divine Crusader, has a chance to defeat Umaril. But alas for Tamriel, the Crusaders' relics have been lost for many an age. Who now can succeed in the quest for the relics, where the greatest knights of legend all failed?
Okay, let's ask him a little more about Umaril. What can you tell me about this Umaril?
He was defeated but not destroyed by Pelennor the Crusader. Now he has returned to seek vengeance against the gods. Only a true knight, wielding the holy relics of the divine Crusader, has a chance to defeat Umaril.
Okay, can you give me any advice before I set off on this pilgrimage?
Walking the Pilgrim's Way is the traditional start of a holy quest. Follow the map I gave you, Visit the way shrines of the Nine, pray, and wait for a sign.
I think the voice actor who voice acts the Prophet is the same one that does Sheagoras in the Shivering Isles DLC.
May the 8 and 1 guide your steps.
Alright then, let's check out this chapel that's been attacked.
I wouldn't go in there unless you have a strong stomach. We have orders to leave everything just the way it was until the investigation into the chapel attack is finished.
Can you tell me anything about the Anvil Chapel attack?
It's baffling. How anyone could have gotten in and out of there without being seen by our patrols is beyond me. Maybe that prophet is right. Some kind of unholy doom visited upon us.
Can you tell me anything more about the prophet?
He preaches most of the day across the street from the chapel. I used to think he was crazy, but now he seems to be making some kind of sense. I hope that doesn't mean I'm going crazy now.
Okay. Have there been any rumors around town that might explain this attack?
I heard that Velwyn Benorys is trying to sell off Benorys Manor. Hopefully the new owners will clean that eyesore up.
Okay, that wasn't what I was thinking of. I should get going.
Take care.
Okay. There's no sense in leaving the gold. Take the key just so that I can look around a little better. This must be the Iliad blood runes the prophet was talking about. It's interesting to note that the altar does not work the way the others do. I guess it's been desecrated. They all have. So, the prophet mentioned Nirn. That's the world that the Elder Scrolls take place on. He mentioned the 8. The 9 divines are basically supernatural creatures, similar to the Daedra, but they're different in that 8 of them chose, instead of being selfish like the Daedra did, they chose to create the world. They chose to create Nirn, and they became mortal, so to speak, killable, and a part of the world. If you played Skyrim, you know that later on there was another divine that was added, Talos, making it the 9 divines. Let's see, do I have a torch? It's kind of dark in here. I do not. Do I have magic? The book here. So I'm going to grab these books. These sort of tell the history of the Knights of the Nine. And I'll look over them, probably off camera, and just sum them up for you all, rather than having me try to read them while recording. Because you may have noticed I am slightly dyslexic. I skip lines and stuff of this nature. So Martin came back to Cyrodiil, or maybe to Cyrodiil for the first time, after doing a tour in Hammerfell, which is to the west and north, the home of the Red Guards. He had a series of dreams that compelled him to journey to Cyrodiil. So he's interested in investigating this chapel attack to find out if the 9 were telling him to come here just so that he could solve these murders. Oops, I thought that was a chest. I definitely need to get some torches. I should probably also train up one of my skills, either conjuration or illusion, or enchant a ring, because with the ENB, this game is kind of dark in dark areas and bright in bright areas. Let's see. So I'm just about done looking through here. Got some pricey books that talk about the Knights of the Nine. I believe the Song of Pelennor, which tells the most complete tale of what happened, is sort of spread out. It's got some nice pictures too. Let's look over this one's real quick. It's one of the later ones. Basically, this is Pelennor Whitestrake, the first Divine Crusader, and that's Umbra, who was a fierce sorcerer king of the Aliads. Now, the Aliads were the race of elves that inhabited Cyrodiil, well, what was to become Cyrodiil, and they enslaved the mortal races, the men, the beast races, that sort of thing. And memory serves, the 8 divines had pity on men. They created the Divine Crusader's armor and taught Ezios, I forget her name, even though I just saw it, the dragon speech, which made her, I believe, the first dragonborn. And that aided them in rising up against the Aliads and elves in other provinces as well. Okay, I think that's everything we can get here. As you can see, there's not really much evidence, so we're going to have to operate based off of what the prophet said. Go on this pilgrimage. See if one of the way shrines is close enough that we could do that in this episode. Now, you're going to notice that I changed the UI a lot from the original, if you've ever played. Let's see. If you've ever played the original Oblivion, one, the game looks much better. This is thanks in large part to a mod list put together by a modder on the Nexus called Bevi Lex. Doesn't look like it tells me where the different way shrines are. That could make it challenging. That's my current quest, right?